The simple answer for why I'm like a well-known professional climber is the fact that the type of climbing that I like to do, which is soloing things like climbing without a rope, is like beautiful and easily understood. It's the type of thing that people see and they're like, that is rad, even if they don't know anything about climbing. I spend the majority of my time in my van, traveling on the road, you know, like camping in different climbing areas. Yeah, I mean, climbing is pretty much all I do. Yeah, all the time. People use dirtbag just to mean somebody who's like, I don't know, dirty, like living on the road, climbing all the time, like semi-homeless, but climbing a lot.
We're headed to that cave up there. Very exciting. I'm gonna say they're with you.
I'm gonna say they're with you. I'm gonna be like, they're here shooting a documentary on the best handicap climber in the world.
James is a homeless friend of mine. Like, I've known him for a decade. We've climbed together forever, like in various places around the world. He's just like another climber that's on the road. James has like a fused ankle and a fused back and a bunch of random things like that. He took like a 100-foot ground fall like a decade ago. And so he got like put back together. Yeah, pretty hardcore.
People were always like, you've had a second chance at life. Like, what are you gonna do with it? I was always like, well, I'm gonna do exactly what I was doing before. Maybe slightly better. I'm gonna not work, I'm gonna climb as much as possible, and that's about it.
If you don't have talent, you gotta have tenacity.
We've been climbing in Maple like 2 on, 1 off for the last like 9-10 days or something. Maple is a place that you would never solo.
You'd never climb without a rope.
Because there's like, yeah, you would never climb without a rope because there's like a very high probability of the rocks pulling out of the wall. I'm about to warm up. We just start over on the side on kind of easier routes to stretch out and get warm. And then we'll move on to like the real projects in the middle of the cave. I'm preparing to go to Angola in 10 days. The Angola expedition is more about exploration, developing new climbing, sort of seeing new places on the west coast of Africa. I'm also supporting a project through the Honnold Foundation, which is like a nonprofit that I run. And through the Honnold Foundation, we're supporting a solar lighting project.
Cool. Nice. That was pretty good.
That was pretty legit.
Yeah.
Nice. This is one of many of my first snacks.
Like, so I climb something, and now I'm resting, and we're waiting for James to climb something, so it's like, makes sense to snack.
So you never get like hungry.
Good, James, come on. Get it. Come on, hold it. Hold it, come on, James. Come on.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to eat like super heavy, like a bacon, egg, sausage fest right now and then try to climb. You'd be all like, oh. Though it's kind of true that you wouldn't want that stuff in general, you know, because it's just gross.
I've been vegetarian for 2.5 years or so.
Okay, climb in, James.
Okay, climb up, dude.
I just feel like people should be more mindful of the impact that their diet has. Actually, I mean, for that matter, I've never drank alcohol either, because I've never liked it. I often like to say that I'm basically Mormon, except for, wait, I forget what I like to say. But yeah, basically I'm Mormon except for the God thing, you know, in terms of clean living and like, you know, being wholesome. But I just think all the religious stuff is bad.
Okay, so take me up, please, James.
Yep, got you, dude.
I have no idea what I'll be eating in Angola. I might actually take, you know, 15 pounds of like bars and powders and like random nutritional type snacks, just in an effort to like maintain a high level of fitness while I'm there, so when I get back I can still climb well. I started climbing when I was 10 years old or so, climbing in a gym in Sacramento. As a kid, I always loved climbing on things like trees and buildings, and you know, I did gymnastics for like a year just recreationally, and my parents just knew that I loved climbing on things. I climbed on the roof. I was never like a bad climber, but I was never a great climber either, because there are a lot of other climbers who were much, much stronger than me, who started as kids and were like instantly freakishly strong. Like they just have like a natural gift, and that was never me. I just loved climbing, and I've been climbing all the time ever since. So I've like naturally gotten better at it, but I've never been like gifted, you know. That's all right.
Oh yeah, dinner time.
I'm looking through my pantry to see, oh perfect, I have some mac and cheese. I'm gonna make mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is so easy. I'm a very lazy cook.
I wish these were cookies.
It's not really like PC to talk about diet and weight and all that stuff with climbing, but obviously the heavier you are, the harder it is to pull yourself up something. And there's like a healthy middle ground where you have a healthy weight, you have energy, you feel good, and like it's good for your long-term health. But then, I mean, you want to stay as on the skinniest side of that as possible, really. This is probably like 1,000 calories, maybe?
Aren't you supposed to be on a 2,000 calorie diet?
No. Like, we're both on like 3,000 calorie diets for sure. But we're also not working out in an extraordinary way either. I mean, we're still not doing any more like physical output than like a peasant does in normal day life.
Yeah.
So this is a big thing with like the vegetarian diet. People are like, oh my God, how do you get your protein? How do you stay fit or whatever? And you're like, dude, the majority of the world operates on a vegetarian diet because they're poor. And it's like, they basically are like relatively healthy, lean folks. And so that's, you know, like we're doing the same. These things are outrageous. I was thinking about that, like elite gymnasts, like Olympic gymnasts are surely dieting at like a crazy level, and it's probably taking years off their life. But, you know, if they're willing to win an Olympic gold and like shave a few years off the end, I'm like, that's certainly their call. All right, night night.
Yeah, sleep well, dear.
Yeah, good night, honey. See you in the morning. Right now we're in my van on my friend's driveway. Or I like to say we're in my living room. Or my kitchen, depending how you look at it. I just poured the remnants of my muesli. Flax meal. Raspberries are like my favorite food. And then what's left of the almond milk, which hopefully hasn't gone off. Probably hasn't. No, I've never really had refrigeration. Though honestly it doesn't really matter, and it just goes to show that people are way too worried about refrigerating things. People often ask about living in the van, and it's not that I want to live in a car. I mean, if I could live in like a really nice house and climb all the time, I would. But in order to be out at these mountains, you know, to climb in different national parks all year round, to be able to travel, be mobile, you know, like you have to live in a van. And so the van is like a really nice middle ground where it's like, well, it's not a nice house, but it's pretty nice, and I get to do the thing that I love to do all the time. Is your breakfast just that apple?
Yeah. It's really nice here.
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes out of town and you're like on top of 11,000 foot peaks and stuff. This morning I'm going to go with my friend James up the South Ridge of Superior, which is like a peak above town. It's like a really accessible like scrambling / hike jog thing up a mountain. I threw in an extra gel for James. I have my phone in here. We have a little bit of water and we're like ready to go.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
And we're off. Like a herd of turtles. Is this actually like the pace we start at?
What? Oh yeah, something like this.
Yeah, okay, casual. The South Ridge of Superior is sort of like a classic alpine scramble. It's just like blocky rocks, you know, a little bit of dirt here and there, trees, a tiny bit of climbing, like little steps that you have to climb over. But like, you know, extremely steep, like 3,000 feet of vertical gain in like a mile or something, maybe a mile and a half max.
I guess any day you're not climbing is a rest day.
The big thing that we're resting is like our skin and like tendons in your arms and like all these little things that like you don't really use for anything else. So even if you go out and get like worked like running around in the mountains, you're still like, well, at least my hands feel better.
Yeah.
of disgusting. 105, 30.
I think my heart's gonna explode.
My weight actually has never fluctuated that much. There are a lot of other climbers who have like gone heavier and lighter and like really starved themselves and dropped a bunch of weight. And I've like never really dropped weight specifically for a climbing project, but that's partially because the climbing that I do is so diverse, because I go from like running up mountains to like sport climbing to bouldering to like all these different sub-disciplines of climbing. And so to be able to do all of them at roughly the same time, you kind of need to have just like a middle ground healthy body weight. Are you excited about this?
Oh yeah.
This looks disgusting.
Dude, I've got a total boner for that grist fit.
It's not, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah. Alright. It's food. That's good.
Maybe it's more appropriate to call it fuel.
Yeah.
It's like pouring coal into the fire. It's not exactly like, it's not delightful. But.
Yeah, but you're psyched for the coal. It tastes like coal.
I'm probably gonna just take off and run in a minute.
Okay.
See what I can do down.
Yeah, so we are leaving the house on our way to Maple via grocery store and a random office to pick up some nutrition stuff. I've gotten like more and more anal about looking at nutrition facts and like ingredients and just like, you know, choosing things that don't have too much extra stuff added.
I'm starting to get angry. I want like 3 muffins and some cookies. Lots of cookies. And then a fair amount of judgment from Alex. Dude, it's heinous. You talk so much.
Check out James's old woman parking. Though James is a great example of the saying, ignorance is bliss. You know, because he's so happy. No idea. Yeah, look at the gap in his parking. I mean, it's just one of those things.
Apple, avocado, banana, these little packets of almond butter I really like. I got a muffin, and then there's a cookie. I already ate half because I'm hungry. Because the first thing you need in the morning is a f***ing cookie. And if you don't, you're Alex Honnold and you're crazy.
So pretty much my whole childhood and into my early 20s maybe, I had like a pretty bad diet, ton of Cheerios. I mean, my family, it's funny because my family has all these stories of like, oh, as a kid, you wouldn't eat this, you wouldn't eat that, you were so picky, you wouldn't do this or that. You know, like now that I've like traveled in Africa and like all these random places and eaten like all kinds of crazy food, I come back to my family and I'm like, you guys made fun of me for being a weirdo. You don't like the texture of hummus, so you're not gonna have any. You know, you're like, really? Like, what the heck? So this is where the reading nutrition facts is like really annoying because I'm now gonna stand here for 5 minutes looking at each of these. Because like the Justin's is mildly annoying because it has palm oil. This stuff is like, you know, when I'm buying nut butter, I want it to just have the nut. It's like annoying when it also has like palm oil, sugar, salt, whatever. Well, you're like, why add a bunch of stuff? It's like you just want.
You said
Just
nut.
wants the nut.
Yeah, you just want the nut, dude.
Well, you know. So we're headed to Go Gnarly, which is like a nutrition supplement type company, and I don't know, they sort of just offered me some product, and so I figured I'd check it out. Like, where are we? I feel like we're at like Citibank corporate office or something.
Right. Well, this is our little NAR room.
Our room. Whoa.
So yeah, as a matter of fact, look at this. This is our little poster
Oh,
you
yeah.
signed like a year ago or
Heck
whatever
yeah.
when it was.
Totally.
So
That's my
kinda
poster
funny.
on the wall. That's pretty classic.
Our whole goal with that was to make it really easy on the stomach. So we used a grass-fed way, no hormones, no antibiotics, no artificial ingredients.
Yeah.
And then we
I
also
think-
use digestive enzymes.
Oh, so this isn't just pure powder?
Powder and water, that's all it is.
Go for it.
All right.
You gonna make a toast?
Gnarly
or
cheers?
something?
No, it's just
Gnarly.
cheers. Just, yeah.
Cheers. Cheers.
Not too bad, right?
It does go down easy. You know, there's certainly a time and a place for like powders and like protein powder supplements. I mean, like, I don't know. I think there's some value to it, and so I'm totally curious to try it more and dabble a little bit. I don't know, we'll see. Actually, I mean, one of these tubs would be a perfect thing to take to Angola, honestly, because that's like ideal, where it's hard to get proper nutrition, but you can probably get water at least, and so you can just like mix up like wholesome little things to make sure you don't waste away. Actually, I do think that some of the climbing in Angola is on conglomerate, which is the same type of rock that I'm climbing on in Maple, so some of it might be kind of similar. This is the second half of breakfast, or second breakfast. I mean, how much of a hobbit you feel like. So this is some muesli, some hemp hearts, raspberries, cinnamon, and quinoa milk. It's a bit of an experiment, but it seems pretty wholesome.
Well, don't think that I'm full of myself, these are honest words I speak. I just think you better find a quiet corner of a couch to sit and think, and what you're gonna come up with through all your years of pondering won't ever add up to me.
There are tons of climbers who are much stronger than me and can climb harder routes and can climb maybe a little faster or whatever. I mean, there are all these different subdisciplines, and there are tons of people who are way better than me at like most parts of climbing. But like, I'm pretty good all around, and I've just done a bunch of things that for whatever reason, you know, garnered mainstream attention. I donate probably a third of my income to the Honnold Foundation, which then goes to like environmental nonprofit stuff, which honestly is a big part of why I set up the Honnold Foundation. Was because it made me feel better about embracing the whole like fame side of climbing, you know. But if I can do 2 days of work that earns enough money that I can donate it through the foundation and like positively affect thousands of people, and you're like, that's pretty rad. Like, I'd like to think that when I die, the world will not be a worse place because of me.